Hi. I'd like to show you today a few things on ProWorks on creating templates. It's going to be a multi-series of videos to help you through the instruction phase of getting up to speed on ProWorks. I'm starting here at ProWorks screen. I've started up. I have not logged in. Everything is grayed out. And I just wanted to show you a couple of things before you actually create a template. What happens if you log in as, I'll just say, a trainee. This is somebody that has no power to edit templates. If they are logged in, alright, they will get a screen like this. They can have access to jobs, run jobs, and see their to-do list. Okay, no problem. They can't get into templates. They can click on it all they want. They won't be able to see it. We've also turned off the ability to do reports. Again, you can tailor that to your individual needs. But generally, we don't let people on the floor get too much into the reports and stuff. So the first thing we need to do is log in as somebody that has the authority to edit templates. This gentleman here, we can access. We'll type in a password. And now this icon here is now full color and indicates that I can have access into it. There's a couple different ways to jump into templates. To create a new template, the fastest way is to click right and just say new template, and that works great. Alright. Another way is I can just click on the icon and I'll get a listing of the existing templates. But since we're actually creating one new today, I need to say new, file new, and I have new template and new project. A project is a series of templates strung together. We can cover that in a different video. The fundamental unit remains the template. And again, if you were to use projects, it's because you want to use the same template again and again and again for different machines. Maybe you don't want to cut and paste. It's a little easier if you have one template, let's say for final shipping. They may have a custom one for each project. So we'll say new template. We're going to come up first with these two property screens. And this is really where all the work is, and it's not that much work. You need to create a new name, whatever name you want to use. Obviously, you want a little bit of forethought into how you name your templates as you create a bunch of them. There is a tool here called product type, which is required, and that allows you to keep things in categories. Makes it a little easier on the listing. Any category that you've used before is available to you, so I can go ahead and say like this is an assembly, or it's a cooking, or it's marketing, and it's great. And it makes sure the spelling matches, so everything works really good for us. Occasionally, you're going to want to have a new product type. Just type in a new type name, whatever you want to call it, and you're good to go. All right. The other thing that might happen is, let's say, well, here's obviously a product type that probably doesn't make any sense. I can rename that. Okay. So we can go ahead and call this first. Maybe something like that might make more sense as a first article test to get the spelling. So you can go ahead and rename that. That's done retroactively, so anything that used to have that old product type now is using this new label that makes a lot more sense. Again, that's just it'll become more apparent why you want the product type as you start working with a lot of templates. It's this organization. Now, talking about organization, leaving the template world for a minute and jumping into jobs. Out on the floor, they're going to have multiple jobs running. So if you have one set of instructions or a template, you might end up running 50 or 100 or 200 different machines using those instructions. You need to be able to keep track of them. We use 3 fields for that. At this point, you can see these generic labels, fields 1, 2, and 3. You have 3 fields that you can use instead. So serial number probably makes a lot of sense. Okay, but you might want a work order instead of a lot number. You might want a department. You can type in your own too, doesn't matter. But these are just labels, so the reports and stuff make sense to you later on. I think it's pretty straightforward. Next, we'll hop over to permissions, and this is a little bit more interesting. Template owner right now is DTAC, because I just created it, so of course I am the owner. But I may pass that on later on to somebody else. Okay, if I need to pass that over to Travis at some point, maybe make this guy here the template owner, then he can become the owner. I like throwing the work over the wall, passing the buck. All right, I'll go ahead and stay as owner for right now. Down here we have what we call edit and approval privileges. by default, we'll set up detached here as editor and approver. And that works great. And what that means is that after I make my changes, if I want to release it to the floor, I can go ahead and release it to the floor. Press the button, and since I am the editor and the approver, I'm basically the king. I can do whatever I want, and it goes out to the floor. That works great in a small system. Typically what happens though is you might take somebody like Art Rocket and power user. You might have these guys that are power users. They're experts in their area, but they're not really managers. And we can give them editing privileges here, but retain the approval for ourselves or to somebody else. Some companies will actually set it up so they'll have a release manager. And so even as owner of the template or these power users, we can all edit it. But when we're done, we don't actually get to release it to the floor. It goes out to whoever is named release manager, whatever name we want to put there. And he is the one that has to put the final stamp of approval on it before it goes out to the floor. All right? And that makes sense for larger companies. Now, if we really want to make things interesting, we can set something else like this. And here I've set up where either one of these guys here can edit the job, but both DTAC and our Crockett must approve it. So when power user gets done with his changes and he says release, it doesn't release, it just tells him that it's notified DTAC and our Crockett for approval, and it will put messages in both of our inboxes that we need to do this work. All right, and it won't release it until both of us actually sign off on it. And so you've got a lot of flexibility there to match what your company policies are on approving new processes. I'll go ahead and for right now, I'm going to go ahead and release this once with myself set as approver. Alright, so here I've got just a simple dummy set of instructions. They're made by default, and I'll show you how to edit these and change these later. But what I want to show you is if I go ahead and to release this, it's going to allow me to go ahead and say approve all and release it. Alright? And that's great because I've made myself king. Now, if I jump out of here for a second, I'm going to go back to properties. Alright?